Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our weekly update. We had some technical difficulties last week, so we ended up not sending out our weekly update. That was my bad. I had my mic muted. Next week, couple updates. On Tuesday is an early release day. Students will be dismissed at 1 o'clock. Again, that's Tuesday. Kind of a random early release next week on Tuesday. All right. Another thing, we've been doing a little drive for Help the Homeless. If we could bring in some just travel size items, it is being donated to the community. I forget exactly the organization, but we're donating some travel size items to help some of the homeless in the area. All right. In math next week for Math 6, we started talking about graphing on the coordinate plane today. We're going to continue that next week. On Friday, we will have our Unit 7 quiz. Our study guide will also be due Friday. That will cover adding and subtracting negative numbers, writing and graphing inequalities, and then graphing on the coordinate plane. Math 6 Plus, we have our Unit 7 quiz on Monday. The study guide is also due Monday. Again, that's going to cover adding, subtracting negative numbers, inequalities, and graphing on the coordinate plane. In Math 6 Plus, we're then going to move on to our last sixth grade unit, which is about data. We're going to talk about what makes data reliable, maybe inaccurate data, and then we're going to talk about how different ways we can represent data like dot plots and box plots and histograms. All right, have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Hello, Pine Hollow parents. My name is Raquel Chase, and I will be your student's ELA teacher for the remainder of the school year. So far, all we are working on are our literacy circles, so we will be doing that for a while. Every single student does have an assigned book, so each student has their own book. We also have book logs that go with our books. So every single night, your students will be having an assigned reading that go along with their bookmark, and then we will have a quiz on Monday. Just so far, the chapters that they've already read. Students have been reading in class, so everybody should be prepared for their quiz. And again, we will continue to do our literacy circles. Students will show that they know how to show 5 different roles for their books, and that's all we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. And I'm happy to be here with you guys.
All right, 6-4 families. I gave this shout out in mute form last week, but two special parents and some other parents as well. Awesome donations of flowers, as I can finally get that on the screen right there. Awesome. Thank you so much. 2 weeks ago, a week from today, actually, we did flower dissection, and thanks to those donations. So each kid had a group to work with, and we actually were able to use them in a thing this week called the pollen story. So if you did not know, the kids should know by now that each of these parts of a flower have different reproductive properties. Some are male, some are female, some are called accessory parts because they're neither male nor female, but they bring in the pollinators or they attach the flower to the stem. And then we figured out where pollen comes from, where it has to go to become a seed. We focused on the pollen stories today. And then we ended this week with learning about photosynthesis, cellular respiration, and transpiration. Those are 3 processes that plants use to increase their survival rates. And we are going to focus and dig a little bit deeper next week on those processes. We're going to talk about how photosynthesis and cellular respiration are complementary processes, and how transpiration helps when, you're a houseplant owner and you like to, water your plants too much. Transpiration helps with that as well. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It looks like the rain is out of the forecast for the first time in like 3 months. So hopefully we get some time outside.
All right, families, let's talk a little social studies. Hey, before we do, it's free comic book store day tomorrow. So if you have some free time, go check out a comic book store. They'll give you some free books. It's awesome. So social studies, we ended our unit on social structure on Tuesday when we had our dinner party. And again, like Mr. O said, thank you for those parents who brought in Capri Suns and goldfish. We had a nice little snack as kids were talking at their table about the roles that they wrote when, and they had to rank their tables. So there might have been an Egyptian pharaoh sitting next to a Roman patrician, sitting next to an Indian kshatriya, and they had to figure out where they might fit on a social structure of their table. So that was the conversation they had as they were having their little snack as our kind of end of unit activity. It was a lot of fun. Then we got into our unit on decline of civilization, so how civilizations fall. We talked about geographic factors for fall, like volcanoes and natural disasters, political reasons for fall, like corrupt leaders or war, and economic reasons for fall, like devaluing of currency or economic collapse in some way. We're going to continue that unit into next week. It's a short little unit, so we're going to talk next week about some of the rise and falls of some of the historic empires like Alexander the Great and the Mongol Empire. And then we will get in at the end of next week our final unit, which is the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and the Reformation. It doesn't really fit into our grapes style of teaching, but it does kind of dovetail very nicely into 7th grade. So as the kids finish 6th grade, we talk about the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and the Reformation. And when they get to 7th grade, they kind of take it right from the Renaissance and into the rest of history. So it's almost like World Civ 1 is 6th grade and World Civ 2 is 7th grade. So that's what we're going to be working on. If you have any questions or any concerns, let us know. If not, have a lovely weekend. Go see a comic book store.